Welcome to Meet in the Lobby, a podcast by Avendra International, North America's leading provider of hospitality procurement services. Avendra's Lobby serves as the perfect meeting spot for the latest topics and news impacting the hospitality industry, including unique perspectives and innovative solutions from the industry's leading experts. Welcome to Meet in the Lobby. Melissa, we've got another really good one teed up this afternoon, and it's around sleep. And sleep is something that is so near and dear to all of us. Melissa, let me ask you, how's your sleep?
Not that great, Dorien. So I am in I am in a perpetual state of jet lag. I just got back from Spain. Next week, I'm leaving for Belgium. And so no matter where in the world I am, whether it's home or whether it's abroad, I am looking for a good night's sleep. And so I am very much looking forward to this conversation today.
Same. Well, you look bright-eyed and bushy-tailed right now. So
can't thank you enough for that.
Of course, of course.
All right. So today we're going to be joined by Luke Kelly. He's the CEO of Bryte, and his company's revolutionizing the guest sleep experience, and they're doing it through technology. So Luke is truly a thought leader in the sleep wellness segment, and so this is sure to be an eye-opening conversation. So Luke, a warm welcome to you. Welcome to Meet in the Lobby. Thank you so much for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit about your background, your role at Bryte, and how you got into this segment?
Well, first of all, good afternoon, and I'm really excited to meet both of you and to be here with you today. I'm also really hoping this is an eye-closing experience, Melissa, not an eye-opening one.
I'll say pun intended. Pun intended, Luke.
And appreciate, you guys being transparent about your experience too. I think this is something that people are talking about more, but not enough of, and why we're so passionate about what we're building at Bryte to enable a differentiated guest experience, but also something that you can bring home into your own home and really revolutionize your sleep night in and night out. So, a quick introduction. Bryte was founded on the principle that we could do better than traditional foam and spring mattresses, which has really been the state of the art for over 100 years. And the technology materials have changed, but there's not really any innovation within the mattress that truly helps you get to sleep, stay asleep longer, provide relaxation experiences that help you address stress and anxiety, jet lag recovery. So that's really at the core of what we have set out to do and what we're doing at Bryte. I got involved with the company about 3.5 years ago, and my co-founder, Ely Cern, has a PhD from Stanford, over 100 patents, really looked hard at the core of, hey, what really makes sleep good or bad, and what could we do to drive personalization and to really create a differentiated experience. So we really started with a clean sheet of paper and recreated the experience to allow you to get that magical 7, 8, 9 hours of sleep a night that really helps you feel restored and rejuvenated and wake up feeling bright the next morning, right?
Absolutely. Now, Dorien, you sleep like a baby, don't you?
Well, it depends. So there's some nights where I sleep like a baby, but many mornings I wake up and my shoulder is, I'm not going to say my shoulder's frozen, but let's say it's a little frosty, right? I think I have a frosty shoulder in the morning. But Luke, you talked a little bit about what sleepers, let's call them sleepers. Talked a little bit about what sleepers might be looking for. And travelers are consistently on the go. Melissa's on the go. I'm on the go. What other things do you think that hotel guests are looking for considering their sleep?
Well, maybe let's start with solving your problem, Dorien, because I'm really worried about you, man. Because
Thank you.
I got the same I got the same problem on my right shoulder instead of my left shoulder. So really, at the core of the technology is personalization and customization, which guests are looking for, and every one of us needs. Every one of us is different, not only at this static point in time, but at different stages in our lives too, right? So, what we deliver in this experience is in a king size mattress. We have 90 of these different software addressable coils inside the bed, and we can inflate and deflate these in real time to help make a softer experience, a firmer experience, not only across your side of the bed or the whole bed, but within specific regions, right? So when, Dorien, you get a Bryte bed at home, when you're sleeping on your side, the bed will know that you've moved to your side or are sleeping on your side, and will naturally reduce pressure in the shoulder region. So the rest of your body will carry and support more of that weight. So you won't wake up with that dead shoulder in the morning, right? And so that level of personalization exists within the mattress. It can be fine tuned over time with more and more data, with more and more personalization. But really, we're able to deliver this very intimate, very hyper personalized experience for the first time ever within a mattress and within your sleeping experience, whether you're sleeping at home or whether you're on the road.
So I can't just make fun of him about aging. There's actually something that the bed can do to help with it, huh?
Well, you can still make fun of him all you want. He just will be complaining a little less, Melissa, and we can actually do something about it for sure.
Well, that's good. I think I've got like 6 years on you, Dorien. So I understand the pain.
Well,
Yeah,
you don't show it, so that's good.
I think I may show it a little bit more in my beard.
So, Luke, I have a quick question for you.
Sure.
Hotels pay a lot of attention to guest survey results, so they can receive real-time feedback, right, on how they can enhance the guest experience. There was a larger survey conducted that had some really interesting results, and it was sleep, and sleep quality was near the top of the list. And I know Bryte, being very technology-driven, data innovative, how can Bryte use that data and those results to help hotels deliver on what guests want?
Well, the mega trend is clear, right? That people want a better night's sleep and will travel to get it. They really would expect, either from a business trip, but even more so from a vacation, that they're going to be restored and rejuvenated, right? And Americans work more than just about anybody else in the world, maybe take 2 to 3 weeks of vacation a year. Like, they really need that reset. And, what today, no matter how nice the hotel or resort is that you're going to get a medium mattress when you walk into that room, right? So what we can do for the first time is deliver an experience that is much more personalized to you, even if it's just going in and setting the bed and making it softer or firmer. You're still getting this rebalancing experience. You're still getting this adjustment experience. So we are able to deliver a level of wellness in the room around sleep that that guests have not had to date. In addition, we know that a big impediment to sleep, and this is also related to the rest and relaxation and recovery, is stress and anxiety. So people want to figure out, what should I be doing half an hour before I go to sleep, whether I'm on the road or whether I'm at home. You get your alert on your Apple Watch, or your Oura Ring tells you to have a ritual, whatever it is, right? Tracking is fairly ubiquitous today, but you get that alert on your Apple Watch that says, hey, it's time for a wind down. What do most people do? Oh, one more show on Netflix, one more glass of red wine. These are all the worst things you could be doing, because you're supposed to be lowering your heart rate. You're supposed to really start to get centered, do meditation and mindfulness. So what we've built into the experience within the bed, because we have all of these different zones and we can inflate them, deflate them, is a relaxation experience that is really, really delightful. So think of Calm or Headspace, but when you add motion to it, it's really a 1 + 1 is 5 or 6 experience, because it's really, really immersive. It's really, really sticky, and people really look forward to it. We have over 50% of our sleepers who use it every single night. So what happens is you go and you can select an experience, be it a rainstorm or spoken word meditation, And you can run these for up to 30 minutes before you go to bed. And we find that people get to sleep 95% of the time before the track even ends. I hear all the time from our guests, like, I don't even know how this thing ends. It's so wonderful, so delightful. I use it every single night. And then we also know it helps create rituals that are healthy with partners too, if you share the bed with a partner, because oftentimes partners may have had different bedtimes or different rituals, and now they're saying, oh, let's go do a Bright Waves experience together, right? And so that type of connection, that type of wellness in a way that's super approachable, super delightful, is what we aspire to and what we want for people, both guests and people at home.
Well, Luke, sign me up. Sign me up like yesterday, because again, like I was saying with my shoulder, just to have a sleep experience that's catered to me I think it's revolutionary. Now, I know Bryte probably can't prevent my wife from pulling the blanket off of me. So if you have an anti-blanket pull technology, maybe, we can discuss that down the line.
Well, you can do what the Europeans do. You just have two comforters. That's okay too, or Jason Bateman on SmartList. He talks about this all the time too. I think that's a pretty good that's a pretty good solution there too.
Or two blankets. I like that.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that. Okay, so we talked a little bit about what Bryte users and what sleepers are looking for, but can you talk a little bit about how this can translate into what hotels can do to build out their bed program?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a huge value prop for hotels, right? They're looking for differentiation, they're looking for wellness, they're also looking for ease of use, right? So what we have tried to create is an experience that is super easy for the hotel operators. First of all, it's truly a plug and play experience. You take the old mattress out, you put your Bryte mattress in, you literally plug it into the wall. It takes, a couple of minutes to set up, and then you're done. And there's no maintenance required. There's no anything required. There's just QR codes next to the bed, and everything runs through your web browser, Chrome or Safari or whatever you use. So there's nothing for the guest to download. The setup takes seconds when they engage. But even if people don't engage, they're getting that rebalancing experience, so that it still will be making those real-time adjustments throughout the night to help you sleep better or sleep longer. So you're the traveler that had a flight delay and shows up at 1 a.m. and has a meeting at 8 the next morning. Like, you don't want to screw around with this, but you're still going to get a great night's sleep that would be better than what you would get from a traditional product. So that's really core to our experience. And what we've seen from our hotel partners thus far is a range of implementations. I would say the two categories that have worked best to drive the best results and best outcomes are whole hotel implementations, which of course we love, and then every guest gets this great experience. But what's also super successful is picking at least 20% of the rooms. And that kind of becomes a magical sweet spot for us, because then the front desk staff knows, hey, you're lucky. You're going to get this amazing room with this Bryte experience. Some of those hoteliers have created a category of Bryte rooms too. So they'll take standard rooms and they'll upgrade them as wellness rooms, and they'll upgrade and they'll remove alarm clocks because we don't want light in the room, and they'll add new blackout curtains, and they'll make some other minor tweaks to the room, but they'll make a standard room a new category, and then they can upsell people into it or move their loyalty guests into it and really have this very differentiated sleep experience versus the core experience. But it also gives the hoteliers a super high ROI, because our bed is a premium product, but not, a crazy premium over a traditional product, given all the additional value that we add. But if you can charge even $10, $20, $30 more a night for those rooms, the ROI is incredibly quick. And then the other piece is, because this is a smart device, we're able to share data with the hotels. We can say, 50% of the people went in and set up the bed. We can say, hey, for guests who traveled with a partner, 92% of them select a different comfort. So there is truly value here. Like, people want it to be softer, want it to be firmer, want to personalize the bed. And so those are the type of insights that we can drive for the hoteliers to help them better understand the experience, better connect with their consumer.
That's incredible. I didn't know that you were able to capture that data and the hotels can use that to enhance guest experience moving forward. That's incredible. And it sounds like a win-win, right?
Oh yeah.
The hotels are going to see a great ROI, the guests are going to have a fantastic experience, and candidly, as a frequent guest, I would seek out those rooms to have a better chance at getting over the jet lag that I usually suffer from. So,
Yeah, for sure.
you had brought up a few items that I wanted to touch on. You were talking about blackout curtains and no clock in the room and really customizing that wellness, that sleep wellness experience, right? And we all know that the wellness tourism segment is growing exponentially right now.
Mhm.
So, what role do you see as sleep playing in that?
We think sleep should be the number one thing, right? I mean, we connect with a lot of thought leaders in the space. And, I think one of the things I'm most excited about in the wellness trend is I think historically wellness was the things that happened in the spa, right? And, only a small percentage of guests even step foot in the spa and a slightly larger number in the gym, right? So, I think the thought leaders in this space are saying, what can we do to bring wellness into the room, to make it more accessible, to make it more holistic, right? And so there's really three pillars of wellness, as we know. There's sleep, there's diet, and there's exercise, right? And so typically I think we think of sleep should be the easiest part of it, and because I have to go do something or I have to go make a choice about what I eat, or I have to go to the gym or go for a run, so it involves an explicit choice. Well, what we find actually is, even though you're choosing to go to bed, that's often where the biggest struggles lie, either getting to sleep, staying asleep, and it creates and when you can get it creates anxiety, stress when you can't, right? You're thinking, oh, this should be easy for other people, why isn't it easy for me, whatever it is, right?
Oh,
And so
absolutely. I actually have to listen to a nice Australian lull me to sleep going through a sleep meditation every night.
yeah, absolutely. And so, we just want to do whatever we can to make that going to sleep experience or going back to sleep experience more delightful, more accessible, easier to use, because it is personalized to you, because it is thoughtful, because it is easier than it was in a traditional mattress. And so, or with a traditional product. And so, and if we can get that right, which I believe we're doing, then those other two things become easier. If you get a good night's sleep, you're going to eat better. You're going to exercise the next day, right? Much more likely. But if you don't, then it just becomes this vicious cycle where you're exhausted, so you don't want to work out, and all of these things, and that perpetuates itself. So we're really trying to make this as easy as possible, accessible as possible. And I think the leaders in the space, in the wellness movement, those really forward-thinking hoteliers see that, understand that, and are investing in that, in those in-room wellness experiences, whether it's sleep or other modalities around those three key areas.
Well, Luke, we're talking about individual guest experience. Do you see that there's any cultural differences or cultural shifts in, how sleep is had? For instance, maybe, city center hotels versus not. Can you opine on that a bit?
I think we certainly see differences in the data, Dorian, about interaction and expectation from our data. I don't know. I think it's more related to duration of stay and time, right? So for us, we see higher setup rates in resort properties if that average 2.5 to 3 nights per stay, as opposed to a city center hotel, which is like 1 to 1.5 nights per stay, right? You're coming in, getting out as quickly as possible. So I'm not going to be as inclined to look around the guest room and say, hey, how do I activate this bed? How do I do this other thing? It's a tool. It's not an experience, right? Whereas in our resort locations, people are looking for wellness. People have a little bit more time, so they're engaging in the product. So we certainly do see that fairly clearly in the data. We also candidly, love the resort properties too, because when people have 2 or 3 nights in the bed, they want to take that experience home. They've gone through this process to activate it. And, we see extremely high rates of guests that purchase if they've spent, 3 or more nights in the bed.
That is really insightful information. I was going to ask you, what do you see next, as the future of sleep technology? But I feel like you are one of the companies that's revolutionizing it, like I was saying earlier. I tend to think of your product as, I'll put it in layman's terms, like going to a 4D movie theater, but this is the luxurious wellness version of that, right? Because it's a full sensory experience. So with that said, what advice would you give hotel owners, managers that are looking to invest in sleep technology?
Yeah, I would tell people to look at it broadly in sleep and not just sleep technology, because there's a lot of little things that you can do to, that are outside of a pure tech investment. So making sure the room is cold, your air conditioning works well, and it can get cold enough in that room, because we know the optimal sleep temperature is somewhere between 64 and 67 degrees, depending on the individual. Making sure it's completely dark in the room, right? Because that impacts things a lot, and especially if you're jet lagged, like being able to get it completely dark at 10 in the morning or 8 in the evening makes a huge difference to someone who's trying to adjust those circadian rhythms. So that matters a lot. But then we do, I'd certainly say take a look at Bryte. I don't know of anyone else in the hospitality space that's doing what we do, that's really built a custom software stack and architecture that really is built for the needs of hoteliers and really does deliver such a differentiated experience. So, we're just getting started. We're kind of only about a year into this hotel product and hotel journey. We've had great adoption, but I think the sky is the limit here. And certainly what we see in the data, certainly what we see from guest feedback and our NPS scores is people really, really value having this type of product and experience in a room. And there is a huge value add for the hotels.
Well, I know where I'm going to go to get myself a Bryte bed because I have to thaw this shoulder out, and it just based on everything that you said, Luke, I already know that this is an experience that's just so differentiated that hotels should be knocking down your door to put Bryte beds, and not all, if not in all of their rooms, at least in a percentage of those. So what's next for Bryte, and how can we find you and Bryte?
Yeah, well, what's next for us in the hotel space is, coming in the June timeframe, we'll be announcing our first whole international hotel with a new brand of a leading luxury group out in Asia. So we're really, really excited about that. And then another property here in the US that, around that time, that's committed to doing the entire hotel in Bryte after doing about 20% of the rooms for the past year. So those are two big highlights that are coming soon on the hotel side. And then on the consumer side, we've just recently refreshed our whole portfolio. And so we have a core product starting at $39.99. And then we've got two new models at $59.99 that really create an incredible guest experience, are really tailored and competitive with some of the leading brands out there, whether it's a memory foam product or an innerspring product. So there really is something for just about everybody. So for your listeners that are, even considering, hey, how do I get a better night's sleep? I strongly suggest they go check us out at Bryte.com and see what we've got. And just like you're going to do, get a bed for home.
Absolutely. And just to clarify, Bryte.com is Bryte.
Correct. Thank you.
Fabulous. Luke, it has been an absolute pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you for your insight, and we're so excited to see what's next.
Thank you both. This is a lot of fun. Appreciate it.
Melissa, what a great episode. I am so calm, and I'm feeling really relaxed right about now.
I like that.
One of the interesting takeaways that I had after hearing Luke speak was around the innovation around the bed, which hasn't happened, he said, in 100 years. I think it's interesting that the Bryte bed can let you know what you're doing while you're sleeping and adjust based on that. I mentioned my shoulder a little earlier, and for the bed to be able to firm up or to soften, I think that that's a pretty cool innovation.
I agree. And sleep is such an important part of the wellness experience. And we keep hearing it over and over again, right? Wellness is the next trend, or the current trend, the emerging trend in the hospitality industry. And as a person who attempts to sleep well in a hotel, this is going to be a game changer. And so I'm really excited for what's to come. And from a hotel perspective, the ROI on it sounds incredible, in addition to the data that they're going to get to further enhance the guest experience down the road. I think it's fabulous. And I brought a little sleep mask with me today. So on this note, I'm going to put this sleep mask on, and I wish everybody a good night's sleep. And we'll see you next time on Meet in the Lobby. Thanks for meeting with us today. Interested in becoming a member of Avendra's procurement services? Scan the QR code on the screen or visit us at www.avendra.com to inquire. To learn more about Avendra International and the latest hospitality news and trends, follow us on LinkedIn at Avendra International. Meet in the Lobby is a production from Avendra International. Special thanks to our executive producers, Dorien Murphy, Melissa McCormack, Corey Moriarty, Eleanor Waddell, and Lindsay Garbachik, and our production partners, Market Scale. To learn more, click the link in the description.